eventually. Let me make that smaller. Make that one smaller. And we can get up side by side. So on part one, it is an explanation of business organisation requires operational control. Operational plans. It's all about having measures in place to cope with anything that could possibly go wrong. One of the many years ago as an engineer, I used to work shift work, and literally, if it was the middle of the night and you were on a contract and something went wrong, systems had to be in place where you could actually make contact, explain the position, and then get a result almost straight away. That meant that there weren't, they didn't have to wait umpteen hours for, somebody to turn up to make a decision. So yeah, that's another way of looking at operational control. It's making sure you've got all eventualities covered in case something does go wrong. And in a production industry where you're dealing with materials or parts coming in from all over the place, and people, somebody doesn't turn up, they ring in sick or something of that nature, and then you've got to have a system in place that will make sure that doesn't interrupt the job. Yeah. Performance, employee performance is measured mainly where areas are in where they pay performance-related pay. So if you do, twice as much, you'll get more money, etc. Control checks to take action before any loss is done. This is the bit I was talking about, really. Concurrent control, where you have a system in place to make sure that action is taken before loss or something goes wrong. Predictive or feed-forward control, I can relate back that to it as an engineer as well. It's where you used to do something called preventive maintenance. If you knew that a bearing on a machine wore out after 6 weeks, at 5 weeks or 5 weeks and a few days, you would do the job, and then there was absolutely no, and you would plan the hold up on that particular machine while that job was done, and it makes a big difference to the smooth running. Yeah. 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 Hierarchy process. That last one there, pros and cons, you do that on every one of those, what you've listed above. The pros and cons will be put forward at all stages on the influence diagrams, yeah. Provides alternative to decision trees that grow exponentially with ever more variables that can click in. Like I said before, you might have an issue with materials, and then somebody doesn't turn up. So you've then got to deal with two problems or potential problems and decide which you need to sort first. Yeah. The game theory one is it's when you have to make a decision about, let's say, a job needed to go out on a certain date and it was behind, and you're then going to ask other people to put more hours in to actually clear the backlog, and then you've got to look at the likely response from those participants as well. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, cost benefit is basically used for financial decisions. What's it going to cost? What are we going to get out of it? Is it worth it? Sometimes those decisions can be made slowly. I mean, these are not fast decisions. These are where a decision has to be made, but we've got, there is some time involved. Some of the earlier ones where instant decisions were going to be needed, and you have to have the systems in place for the managers to be able to cope with that.
Mm.
Yeah, budgeted for capital investments and decisions on there. These are all slowly made decisions. Yeah. What do you think linear programming means?
Not sure.
It's where you've got any system in place that requires materials or anything that comes in from elsewhere, and it has to arrive at a certain time. And some of those can be called just in time, Kanban. There's one or two more where materials have to arrive in a certain order in a certain time, and that programming has got to be done to make sure that the timeline behind all those is organised and doesn't fail.
Mm.
Yeah, that one there, conjoint, is purely marketing one, that where you try to work out the best of that. You may have an issue that's going to affect how people view the organisation against going ahead and doing it. So you've got to estimate the psychological trade-off made with customers and features and attributes of a product or service. If you change something, recently banks put in a system called where you got rewards back. There are various names for these. I think the one my bank uses is called Blue Rewards. And all of a sudden, fair enough, they've put these things in place so you get these cashbacks for certain things, but they've suddenly raised the cost of it you pay a fee, I think it is, of £3 a month, and they've suddenly put that up to £4, which if you look at it one way and think, well, it's only £1, and then you look at it another way and say, well, hang on, that's a 30% increase, yeah? How many consumers will say, well, I'll drop out of this reward system now, against the benefits they will pick up from it, because what they've actually done is put the amount up before they brought the extra rewards in. So, yeah, that's the sort of thing where they've made that decision on that basis. Yeah, that's one, trial and error. This is where you put something in place to see if it works, and then you can snatch it back if it's not working fairly quickly, and retrace your steps. A lot of the time, certainly in any production area, changes have to be made. In systems, it might be a car plant is a good example, where it starts at one end with the body being put together to the thing being driven down to the exit bay at the end. So along the lines of there will be various changes to the way the timings are done. They may slow the line down or speed the line up, but that can be done by trial and error. That you can actually say, well, okay, well, we'll slow it down to X number of feet per minute or whatever it is, and see what happens. And if that interrupts something further on, they've then got to make a decision about that as well. But they can put the line back to its normal speed while they make that second decision. So yeah, that's heuristic methods. Again, scientific method, yeah, I mean, this is where you'll get a bunch of people together usually, and it's a problem-solving technique around a specific issue that they are all knowledgeable about. And that technique is good to make decisions because the manager may not be particularly skilled in that particular area or knowledgeable, and you put several people together, maybe a team that's working together, to actually look at the problem and then let them come up with a technique that will a solving technique that can be used to make those decisions. Yeah. Right. So, got the purpose decisions based on impacts. Yeah. Right. Is this in a Word document?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm just wondering why I can't change that. Not letting me. No, it's PDF.
Yeah, I think I send it in PDF. I can send it on Word as well if you want.
Yeah, well, what you need to do is, I've just spotted that and you've done it all the way through. Relay on instinct, it's rely. The A shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you've done the same all the way down. That's why I was going to try and change it. Okay. Yeah, I think we need to extend the good decisions bit on here. This is looking at a description of good and poor business decisions. So it needs some examples in there. You can research some of those quite easily on with companies on things that went wrong. I'll try and just think one from the back of my head there that I've gone on before on this. Yeah. If you remember, it's about 2 years ago now, one of the big oil companies, I think it was BP, had a spillage operation in the Caribbean. I don't know whether you remember it or not, but it was quite a bad spillage. Instead of just dealing with it, the manager in charge, which is the CEO, actually decided he would deal with it. And he was blaming it on American equipment and all sorts of things that he shouldn't have done, and was quickly removed by the board from making any further comment on the spill, and somebody else was put in place, a spokesman, that then decided to take responsibility for it and just deal with it, and which is what he should have done in the first place. So that was a decision quickly made because of a bad decision by the CEO himself to actually take responsibility for something and then get it wrong. But the board were very quick to step in and say, sorry, that's not really the way we want to go, and replaced him with someone else that would then deal with the process. So that's what it's looking for on there, yeah? That was a poor business decision. And there were certain good ones. I'm trying to think of one offhand. I vaguely remember that it was at supermarket. Which one? My memory's failing. It was I think it was Tesco. They got a very bad press over something, and they changed. I can't. You'll probably be able to find this on the net, no problem at all. But they changed the way they did something, and it was an extremely good decision because it made a huge difference to the organisation. Yeah. So though that is just that one. We need to look at. You need to add in on the identify. Oh, wait a minute. Just a second. Yeah, you put your references in there. Yeah. Yeah, it's a three-stage loop. That's better. Yeah, so that's the only thing that I can pick up on there is on that last bit. It needs a couple of examples in of where businesses have made good and in opposite poor decisions. What you put in is fine. It just needs adding. That's all. Yeah.
Okay.
And that, with your references in, will cover it. That's fine. I can't see any problems there at all. That's the only ball on that last bit. That's all. We need a couple of examples in there at merit range. Always ask for examples. Yeah. So that will then complete the unit for you. What I'll do, I will now mark this and also complete your assessment. Yeah. And send that back to you straight away this morning. And if you'll just send me the added bit when you've done that, as soon as you've done it, just send it over to me. I'll put that in as well. Is that okay?
All right.
Yeah. So you know what you're doing now? It's just that last bit. Everything else you've put on here is fine. It's very good. Yeah. It just needs 2 examples now of good and poor business decisions, actual ones that will finish that off. Yeah. What you put on here is right, so add it in before your references from here. You can just go on to say a couple of examples of this are, and then say, and then just put what they are.
All right.
Okay.
Let's see if I can find some.
Yeah. There'll be. What I'll do, I'll have a look as well on there. And if I'm not, I'm working from home this morning, so what I'll do is I'll have a quick look around there and give you some ideas. Is that okay?
No problem. Thank you.
Okay. Have you any questions for me today before we close?
No, I'm all right. Thank you.
You're okay for that? Okay, that's excellent. Good piece of work. As I said, I'll mark this now and come back to you with some ideas. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, speak later.
All right. Thank you.
Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.